Good evening, it's good to see you again on 7Edition. I'm Ras Adiba Radzi and these are your headlines. Commuters left stranded during morning rush hour. Witness says former Cradle Fund CEO's room was deliberately set on fire. And US House passes bill to end regression of Uyghurs in China. Assalamualaikum and it's good to see you again. Morning commuters using the Klanajaya LRT line were left stranded this morning when a maintenance car derailed between Jelate and Datuk Keramat and caused major delays. Rapid Rail Klanajaya Line Chief Operating Officer Ismail Abdullah said the derailment caused damage to the signalling cable and power supply. Services, however, resumed at 2 p.m.
The work to remove the maintenance car was carried out immediately, but could not be resolved before 6 a.m. for normal LRT operations to begin.
Pada pukul 1.27, pihak OCC iaitu Operation Control Center Pusat Kawalan telah menerima panggilan daripada track network staf yang bertugas di mainline yang mengatakan berlakunya derailment pada maintenance vehicle. Ya. Di Jelate, antara Jelate dan Datuk Keramat Station. And sehubungan dengan itu, bila kita kehilangan loss of signal between Jelate and Datuk Keramat.
Normal train service was disrupted for 5 hours, including the track from KLCC to Gombak. However, the track between Putra Heights and KLCC was not affected. Ismail Abdullah said this was the first such an incident has happened since 1988. Commuters shared videos on social media of long lines stretching to outside of LRT stations as they were left frustrated with the disrupted service. Rapid KL had alerted its social media followers of the disruption early this morning and advised its commuters to seek alternative transport, but many still turned up at the LRT stations. The company has since apologized to commuters for the delay caused by the service disruption.
In other news, the Shah Alam High Court heard today that there were signs the fire in the bedroom of the late former Cradle Fund CEO Nazrin Hassan on June 14th last year was started intentionally. Fire and Rescue Department Fire Investigating Officer Abdul Halim Zulkifli testified that the fire was only concentrated in certain areas of the room. Abdul Halim explained that if the fire was deliberately started, it would only be done in a planned place. He also testified that there were some flammable materials, including a pile of papers and tissue rolls placed near the victim and the bed, which did not burn. Samples taken from the burnt area also showed traces of petrol. Abdul Halim also told the court that during an examination on Nazrin's body, he found no injuries and soot stains on the back of the victim's body, except 2 puncture marks and blood stains on his head. The 15th witness was giving his testimony in Nazrin's murder trial, where his wife, 2 teens, and an Indonesian woman still at large have been charged with his murder. A 60-year-old man was charged with 2 counts of uttering lewd words and caressing his own relative. The accused, Muhammad Fuzi Shuko, claimed trial when the charges were read out to him before Magistrate Teo Shu Yi at the Ayer Keroh Magistrates Court in Melaka. For the first charge, Muhammad Fuzi was alleged to have caressed the breast and private parts of a 49-year-old woman who is also his relative at a house in Bukit Rambai at noon on March 12. He is being charged under the Penal Code with using criminal force on a person with intent to outrage modesty, and it carries an imprisonment of up to 10 years or whipping or both. For the second charge, he was accused of having uttered gestures intended to insult the modesty of a person. For this offence, he faces a jail term up to 5 years or fine or both. The court granted bail of 3,000 ringgit and set February 11th for mention. Now, in Pulau Pinang, 2 Bangladeshi construction workers were acquitted and discharged of murder at the High Court in Georgetown, but both have now to deal with the Immigration Department for overstaying. The prosecution failed to prove a prima facie case against Muhammad Dalwa Hussein and Barun Sutrada, both aged 36. They were charged with killing Myanmar national Muhammad Ishak Kobir Ahmad at a flat in Majestic Heights, Paitrobong, on June 13, 2016. They were detained by the police for overstaying as they attempted to leave the court in a hurry. Meanwhile, a motorcyclist was killed after being rammed by a 4-wheel drive at a traffic light junction in Kuantan, Pahang this morning. The traffic light was said to be faulty when the accident occurred. The victim, Sulong Hussein, 70, was unable to avoid the oncoming vehicle and was pronounced dead at the location. The driver of the 4-wheel drive escaped unhurt. The body had been sent to the Tengku Ampuan Afzan Hospital for post-mortem. An international online gambling syndicate believed to have raked in R1 million worth of profit has been busted by police during a raid at a bungalow in Taman Bukit Kempas, Johor. According to the Johor Criminal Investigation Department Chief, SAC Muhammad Yusuf Ahmad, the syndicate is run by Chinese nationals and have been operating for the past 2 months.
Pasukan polis daripada Bukit Aman dan juga DSJ di 7 Johor telah membuat satu serbuan di sebuah premis di Taman Kempas, di mana dalam serbuan tersebut kita telah menahan sebanyak 12 orang lelaki warga China lah, dan 1 perempuan Cina lah, di mana didapati premis tersebut telah dijadikan sebagai calling center lah untuk aktiviti perjudian yang mensasarkan warga China.
The suspects detained are between the ages of 18 to 44 years old. The bungalow was also served as a hostel for the suspects to evade authorities in the operation. Police also confiscated 7 computer sets, 35 smartphones and several devices used for online gambling. The case is being investigated under the Common Gaming Houses Act. Moving on, Prime Minister Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad has called on Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation APEC member economies to embrace the shared prosperity philosophy and include it in their current economic model. Malaysia, who play host to APEC 2020, had chosen the theme Optimizing Human Potential Towards a Future of Shared Prosperity for next year's gathering, which indicated the importance of shared prosperity philosophy.
The country had recently launched the Shared Prosperity Vision 2030 with the aim of creating an economy that can achieve balance and sustainable growth, along with fair and equitable wealth distribution across income groups, ethnicities, geographical regions and supply chains.
In this regard, as host of APEC 2020, Malaysia will continue the work on women in the economy, financial inclusion, engaging youth, sustainable development, and creating a conducive environment for entrepreneurs, start-ups, and social enterprises, as well as all these elements are critical components of a system that will contribute to shared prosperity.
Tun Dr. Mahathir said this in his speech during the launching of APEC 2020 in Cyberjaya today. More importantly, he said Malaysia would like to see the concept of shared prosperity driving the post-2020 vision for APEC, and the philosophy cascades to every work that APEC undertakes moving forward beyond boger goals.
E-hailing drivers who have failed the test to obtain a passenger service vehicle PSV license more than 3 times will be given a special verbal version of the test. Transport Minister Anthony Loke Siu Fook said this is part of the government's efforts to assist e-hailing drivers to obtain PSV licenses.
Loke was responding to a question in the Dewan Rakyat today about the government's efforts to assist e-hailing drivers who have failed to obtain a PSV license.
Walaupun mereka gagal, mereka boleh menduduki semula peperiksaan untuk PSV ini. dari masa ke semasa. Dan memang hasrat kita ialah untuk melesenkan mereka dan kita harap pemandu-pemandu ini diberikan lesen PSV supaya mereka boleh terus memandu sebagai pemandu e-hailing secara sah. Untuk pemandu-pemandu yang telah gagal lebih daripada 3 kali, kita akan memberikan sistem peperiksaan khusus kepada mereka. Ada di kalangan mereka mungkin dari segi pemahaman, dari segi bacaan, mereka mungkin kurang sedikit. Kita mungkin memberikan peperiksaan secara lisan.
Lok said there were 358,944 active PSV licenses, which includes e-hailing, bus and taxi drivers. He also said that taxi drivers make up 28,860 of those who have PSV licenses.
The proposed joint billing for water supply and Indah Water Consortium IWK sewage services will not result in tariff increase. Minister of Water, Land and Natural Resources, Datuk Dr. A. Xavier Jayakumar, said the move would facilitate the payment process as customers would receive and pay only one bill for both services. Datuk Dr. Xavier said this in a reply to a question from Nibong Tebal MP, Datuk Mansur Othman, who wanted to know the extent of the government's efforts to integrate the water supply bill with the IWK sewerage bill and the effect it will have on the government and people.
Kerajaan Persekutuan subsidi kepada IWK dekat 150 juta ringgit setahun. Tanpa subsidi itu, kita akan adakan masalah perkhidmatan di dalam syarikat IWK. Tetapi kita telah ambil tindakan-tindakan sewajarnya di dalam tempoh 5 tahun yang akan datang. Kita akan adakan beberapa program di mana subsidi ini akan menurunkan. Kita akan berhentikan pemberian subsidi dari kementerian kepada IWK sebab projek dan program yang kita telah atur di dalam 5 tahun ini akan lihat bahawa IWK akan jadi financially independent.
He added that the implementation of the Integrated Bill pilot project, which was introduced in the Federal Territory of Labuan effective March 1st, 2016, had a positive impact on IWK. Following the implementation of the integrated billing in Labuan, the Ministry's initiative will be extended to other states by holding discussions with state water supply operators. Coming up next, Japanese doctor killed in targeted attack. The details next. I'm Ras Adiba Radzi and you're still with us on 7Edition. The UN General Assembly has adopted 4 pro-Palestine resolutions on Tuesday, which defended the pre-1967 borders between Palestine and Israel and renewed the mandates of 2 UN Palestine bodies after over 20 member states debated on the question of Palestine. The Assembly voted on the 4 draft resolutions one by one. All documents were passed, 2 approved by an overwhelming majority. The resolutions urged all states not to render aid or assistance to illegal settlement activities by Israel in its occupied Palestinian territory and to ensure accountability consistent with international law. The committee also deems unilateral decisions by UN member states to recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel and the transfer of embassies in Israel from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem as null and void. The report made these recommendations in apparent refutation to the United States' recent shift of position to no longer viewing Israeli settlements in the occupied Palestinian territory as illegal. The US House of Representatives has overwhelmingly approved a bill that would require the Trump administration to toughen its response to China's crackdown on its Muslim minority in Xinjiang, drawing swift condemnation from Beijing. The Uyghur Human Rights Policy Act, among other things, proposes that America redirect resources to address the mass internment of over 1 million of ethnic minorities in the country.
The bill, which terms the detention centres political re-education camps, recommends targeted sanctions on members of the Chinese government and the Communist Party. It also specifically names Xinjiang Communist Party Secretary Chen Quanzhou. To achieve this, it directs various U.S. government bodies to prepare reports on China's treatment of the predominantly Muslim Turkic ethnic group.
We are sending a message to Beijing. America is watching, and we will not stand silent. This legislation helps uncover the truth, requiring reports by the DNI, Director of National Intelligence, the State Department, the FBI about the depths of the crisis and about China's campaign about journalists exposing the facts. It creates accountability, ensuring transparency of Chinese and foreign companies involved in the camps.
The bill also bans the sale of U.S.-made goods to any state agent in Xinjiang. Having passed Congress by a vote of 407 to 1, the Uyghur Act will now head to the Senate for approval before being sent to President Donald Trump. In a statement released shortly after the act was passed, China's foreign ministry on Wednesday condemned the move, saying the bill wantonly smears China's efforts to eliminate and combat extremism. The bill also comes after 2 sets of leaked documents published by global media threw a spotlight on the mass detention of Uyghurs and other minority groups in Xinjiang. China has denied any mistreatment of Uyghurs and says the camps are providing vocational training. It has warned of retaliation in proportion if Chen was targeted.
The death toll from Typhoon Komori that hit provinces south of the Philippine capital rose to 17, pointing to precautions and compulsory evacuations as key in preventing more casualties. Officials suspended marine traffic in affected areas as Komori, packing wind gusts as high as 241 kilometers per hour, battered the Philippine archipelago for a second day. By early Wednesday, the storm had weakened slightly, but heavy rainfall was expected to continue. 2 of the victims were killed by falling trees, while 2 others died when their roofs collapsed. Officials had feared that flooding could deluge Manila and its surrounding areas, home to more than 10 million people. Schools throughout the region were closed for a second day in a row, and a handful of power lines were downed. The monster typhoon, the 20th to enter the Philippines this year, hit land on Monday night, prompting the forced evacuation of about 500,000 residents and cancellation of hundreds of flights. A Japanese doctor and aid worker in eastern Afghanistan died of his wounds after an attack Wednesday that also killed 5 Afghans, including the doctor's bodyguards, the driver and a passenger. According to a source, the attack in Nangarhar province targeted Dr. Tetsu Nakamura as he was heading to the provincial capital Jalalabad. Nakamura was reported to be in critical condition and died shortly after while being airlifted to a nearby hospital. The Japanese physician had headed the Japanese charity Peace Medical Service in Nangarhar since 2008. Gunmen opened fire at his car and killed all 6 people. No one immediately claimed responsibility for the attack, the second in as many weeks targeting aid workers in Afghanistan. Nangarhar police said they were searching for the attackers who fled the scene and that an investigation was underway. Now let's hop on to Clickbait, where we take a look at what's trending and making the rounds in the cyber world today. Heard of the phrase, if at first you don't succeed, try again? Well, it surely proved to be true for this lone thief who is believed to have been frustrated over a botched robbery at a goldsmith shop in Arau Perlis, who then successfully robbed another jewellery store in Alusta, Kedah, about 6 hours later on Monday. Visuals of the incidents went viral across various platforms, totaling up to at least 100,000 views on Twitter. Here's the story. Armed with a shotgun commonly used by security guards, the robber strolled into the store and pulled out his firearm, sending the female staff bolting in fear before triggering the alarm. He then whipped out an axe from his bag and smashed his way into the gold. The 7:30 p.m. robbery took place at a goldsmith store at Maidin Shopping Centre in Alor Mengkudu and was captured in videos by witnesses as well as the shop's CCTV. This being his second and successful heist, the thief looted 5 trays of gold worth about 200,000 ringgit. Earlier at about 1:30 p.m, the same robber was believed to have attempted a heist at a goldsmith store at the Chin Hin Business Centre in Arau. Failing to smash the bulletproof glass jewellery showcases, the robber fled empty-handed, and luckily for the goldsmith store, it suffered no losses. However, the store owner, who is a woman in her 50s, suffered a panic attack and was taken to the hospital for treatment. Kota Star Police Chief ACP Muhammad Rozi Jidin confirmed that they've received reports regarding the incident and that investigation on the case is underway. Now updated as of 7 p.m, here are the top trending topics and searches on the internet today. Let's take a short break, but when we return, national lawn bowl team clinches a whopping 4 goals. Stay with us for the details. Hello again. The Ministry of Entrepreneur Development, MED, is planning to develop big data to help local entrepreneurs in obtaining market information more effectively. Its Minister, Datuk Sri Muhammad Ridzuan Yusof, said the big data will allow entrepreneurs to access information quickly and provide them ease to expand their markets.
Dan kita sedang perhalusi program ini dalam masa terdekat dan terus mengangkat kepada Jemaah Menteri untuk memastikan satu unit pengumpulan data yang boleh diakseskan oleh semua warga negara Malaysia untuk mereka akan gunakan dengan cara yang konstruktif, dan kita juga akan mengadakan undang-undang terperinci untuk mengawal data itu sendiri, termasuk terutamanya data-data melibatkan maklumat peribadi.
He was met at the Post-Budget 2020 Forum organised by Bumiputra Manufacturers and Services Industry Association, PPI-PBM, today. Datuk Sri Muhammad Ridzuan added that the Ministry of Domestic Trade and Consumer Affairs has been tasked to propose the big data development to the Cabinet. In the meantime, MED will also formulate laws to safeguard the data, including personal data.
Forum pasca belanjawan pagi ini.
Bursa Malaysia closed slightly lower today in line with most of the regional markets, as late buying in selected heavyweights capped some of the earlier losses. The FBM KLCI shed 1.34 points to finish at 1,560.93. On to stocks to watch. Berjaya Food Berhad continues to be favoured for the strong brand names under its portfolio, particularly Starbucks and its healthy earnings prospects. However, there are downside risks of weak same-store sales growth for its Starbucks and Kenny Rogers Roasters operations and higher operational costs. Last but not least, Daibochi Plastic and Packaging Industries Berhad's first quarter financial year 2020 core net profit of 11.8 million ringgit is 47% above consensus forecast due to cost savings from mega printing and packaging acquisition. It is also the highest ever quarterly net profit recorded by the company. Onto the podium, day 4 of the 2019 SEA Games. The national lawn bowls squad ends the 30th SEA Games campaign in the Philippines on a high note after bagging 4 gold and 2 bronze medals in the event, which drew its curtain at the CDC lot of Friendship Gate on Wednesday. The highlights. The nation's sole goal was contributed through the combination of Muhammad Idham Amin Ramlan, Daing Dazri Dahasri, Zulhilmi Rizwan and Fairul Izwan Abdul Muin, who recorded an effortless 24-6 victory over Brunei after 13 ends.
Memang kami jangkakan sesiapa saja yang akan bermain dalam final, mereka adalah rata-rata pemain yang hebat. Tapi kami berjaya mengawal permainan dari mula sehingga ke akhir pertandingan, di mana kami hanya bermain 13 end kerana poin yang kami dapat agak jauh dan pihak lawan tak dapat mengejarlah.
Yang paling menggembirakan apabila mereka berjaya menumpaskan pasukan Filipina, iaitu juara pingat emas 2 tahun lepas di Kuala Lumpur. Dan sebenarnya force kami tidak menjangkakan akan mendapat pingat emas, dan akhirnya mereka telah membuktikan bahawa segala impian dan harapan rakyat Malaysia untuk kita mendapat pingat emas tercapai.
Meanwhile, the national women's trio comprising Auni Fatia Khamis, Zuraini Khalid and Azlina Arshad delivered the bronze after beating the Brunei team 17-15 at the deciding action for the medal after 15 ends. And now the standings. Malaysia is now at the 3rd spot in the ranks, led by Philippines and Vietnam at 1st and 2nd place with 21 gold, 12 silver and 21 bronze. So far, Malaysia has secured a total of 54 medals.